Richie, thank you very much for having me here. I know that we met before a couple of years ago at the UK Festival, and in my opinion, it's very important for us to do those kind of trips so we can meet people and talk not only business but talk, maybe share the same struggles and see what we can do to make slot cars back.
Right.
I know that you've been around for a long, long time. I need to hear from you the history behind the great traditions, and before that, the history of your racing, your road trips in the '60s, and why and how did you get the bus driver nickname? Let's start with the bus driver because I learned this yesterday while racing with you, and then I want to learn why is the bus driver? The short answer, please.
Okay. So when we first started to drive and race the cars, I was very innovative in everything that I did, and so when we'd go to race, I would always have either the fastest car, or I'd have the car that handled the best, or whatever it was. And so that was mainly because I had access to all the parts, all the new things that were available. And so I'd put the car together. So when we would race, I could win. I'd actually build a car that was too fast for the classes that we were running in. There was no monitoring of
And what kind of class was that?
of tech or rules
Okay.
per se or anything like that. So
No restrictions. You just
no
go for it.
restrictions. So everything I made was all out. And so basically they used to call me the bus driver because I was taking everybody to school. And, so later on I started to realize that it's not really fair for me because of the advantages that I have of buying all this product. So I decided at that point that I would just borrow somebody's car.
Okay.
So for the last 12, 15 years maybe,
You
I've
just-
been borrowing someone else's car. Now, nobody ever gives me their fastest car.
Okay. The second or the third one.
Yeah. So there have been occasions where they gave me a car that I ended up winning with. And they would then say, that's never going to happen again.
So now you had the fourth or the fifth. Good.
So they would subsequently. So I don't mind. I just go there at the races for the camaraderie and the friendship, and it's to take my mind off everything else that goes on during the week.
What is the name of the club that we raced yesterday? Wednesday Night Club?
Wednesday Night Racers.
Races.
WNR.
WNR. It has been around for a long time.
Yeah, we've
right?
been racing for over 20 years.
Before this track, then.
Yeah, before this track. Yeah, we had before this one, I had 4 stores and a warehouse, 25,000 square foot warehouse.
Hobby store or?
Yeah, so we were general hobby.
Oh, okay.
We sold a lot of sporting goods stuff. So we were the largest Riddell distributor in the United States. They make all the helmets. They made mini helmets. They had Wilson footballs. We had Madame Alexander dolls. We got into Beanie Babies. Whatever the latest fad was, we would bring those in and incorporate them in the retail stores. And I had other partners at the time, and later on, probably a little bit after the year 2000, we decided to separate. And so we sold off all the stores, the warehouse, and all the distributorships. And the only thing we kept, or I kept, was the slot cars. Because I've always liked the slot cars. I've been in the slot cars for a long time. Started back in 1965. I used to build brass chassis, and I'd wind armatures. So I'd make them at home. There was a place in Philadelphia, an industrial area. I could go down and I could get the chassis chrome plated. And I'd take it around to all the hobby shops, Quaker Hobby, Nutley, New Jersey, all over. Whenever there was a race, I'd go there with my chassis and my armatures.
So you scratch build the chassis, chrome plated, and sell it.
Yeah.
124 scale.
Yeah, it was, 124th. There was no, 132nd was always thought of as home sets.
Even on the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you went to a commercial track, you were racing 124th. And there was factory teams like Mura champion, and they would send 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers sometimes. And they had long races. Some of them were 24-hour races. And they would come there, and they would usually buy from somebody that was local because they would know the track better. So they were building their chassis or winding their armatures for that track.
I remember John Sucras telling me stories like, go around, piss everybody up, get a prize, get paid to do this. Some races they give like real cars as a prizes.
He would buy product from me. The others would come there. Whoever came, no matter what team, they wanted to see what was available locally, and they'd try it out. I used to get, I was only 12, 14, 15 years old. I was getting $50 for an armature. I was getting...
It's a lot of money for the time.
$50 for a chassis.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. We used to take the armatures, and we'd send them off to a place in Colorado that would dynamically balance it. Otherwise, you were statically balancing armatures. So that was one of the advantages we had. Our motors would spin like there was no tomorrow without any vibration.
Yeah, and the sound perfect. Everything is good. Do you think that today, with the popularity that we have, so many brands, so many models coming out, do you think it's part of the value that we're losing on slot car racing? Because I remember even in the 80s and the early 90s when I started, you have 1, 2, 3 cars, that's it, and you have to fix them, you have to resolder them, you have to put them together again, you need to cut a new body to it. Now it's literally $29 a slot car, the cheapest one of those poly cars. And people are just accumulating. They're not giving value to the car itself. Do you think there's a little bit of a change now?
Yeah, we went through a transition. So the first thing, if you go back to 1970, that was the end of the slot cars in 132nd and in 124th. Yeah. So it got to the point where you had about 300 commercial tracks. And
even more.
Well, back then. And it settled down to that number.
To 300.
And the people who own those tracks would only be in business for a short time.
Yes.
And then somebody else would buy the track, maybe at that location, or maybe they move the whole track.
To a cheaper branch.
Right. And, not necessarily. They would just move it. They had no idea. These people, in some cases, were not business people. And so they thought that this was a great hobby and that, if they built it, the customers would come. And so every 6 months to 2-3 years, whatever, they'd be out of business. Yeah. And then it proceeded to the next.
Kind of still happens.
Yeah, so what happens today, which is different, is the value of the real estate is so high that unless you own the land for a long time and you don't care about the commercial value to
profit on that, yeah.
Yeah, so you may be able to build a slot car track there. And then a lot of people are building it in their garages and stuff like that. But if you're not set up to take X amount of people and you're not selling product and you don't have services available, you can't fix things for people or whatever, then it's just a matter of time before they drift and go someplace else. So fast forward, and that the other thing that happened too in 1970 is that the manufacturers that were selling into the big box stores told them 132nd, 124th models are no more. We're now going to give you HO models, and you're going to be able to get 4 times as much product in the same space as you were for 132nd and 124th.
That's a nice point of view. That's something that I never thought about. The AGO, the popularity of the AGO in the 70s kind of killed the 124 and 132nd.
They dictated what you were going to sell.
And between you and me, in all due respect of the AGO racers, I don't think it's that enjoyable, especially for a home set. The magnet, the car goes too fast. You don't drive.
Yes, but they captured, because of what they did, they drove all the 132nd companies and 124th, except for some commercial product, out of business. And the HO product became what the people of the generation that were born in the 1960s
became the Christmas tree present.
Yeah, so that's all they can think of is when they think of slot cars. For the next 30 years, it's HO. And so HO took over,
Tyco, Aurora,
Yeah.
AFX.
Yeah, in the U.S. In Europe, it's a different story.
No, they don't even know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
No.
So now we get to 1997, 96, and Fly starts to introduce product. The product is finished so well that some people thought it was die cast. We had one customer bought 60 cars before he realized they weren't die cast. I remember telling him, and I remember the look on his face like, you kidding me?
Now I have a new collection that I don't know. And then I need to keep going, buying.
Yeah, he started to take the cars out of the package at that point, and he started to learn that you could race the cars. And so we had a big track in our warehouse. And then like I said, we sold our distribution, so we had to move from there. We sold our stores, and we had tracks in each of the stores. So we had a following there. And then we moved into this location shortly after. And so I decided I wanted to back off. I didn't need to be the biggest distributor. I didn't need to be the end-all, be-all to Slotcars. But sometimes I can't help myself. And I saw opportunities, and I couldn't understand why some of these companies weren't selling more product. But quickly, between 1997 and 2000, an explosion occurred.
With Fly.
Well, Fly was the leader because they brought out a product that was far better than anybody else's product that was being made.
And
Everybody else was molding the bodies and the color, the finished color of the car. So they looked like they're toy-like almost in comparison to what Fly was making.
Because if you pick up a car from 1907, you have those kind of weird Scalextrics that didn't function very well, and like the design is not there. And then you come up with the Fly, and then it's okay, this is different.
Yeah.
And I think kind of opened up the market, because my vision, I wasn't involved with slot cars. I was 16 years old, but if you get the Fly car coming, then after that you got Ninko and other manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
And then people realize they can start to race with those. And then I assume Mauricio and Noviello come up with like professional slot cars. The whole thing changed. That's the way that I see it.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's what happened. It was about 5 years after Fly started to put out that product. All of a sudden, Scalextric in probably 2002 felt the need to upgrade their product.
Which is something that they should do now.
Right. And again, yeah. And then Slotted came about a year or two after that. I think it was maybe 2005 when they came out with the Audi.
Yeah, the R8.
Yeah. And then Ninko was putting out a nice product by that time as well.
But it's still more comparable with Fly than Slotted.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Slotted was a step ahead with the motor and the chassis design.
The motor pod and
Yeah,
gearing too, right? A little bit of
Right. The only thing that was holding them back from dominating and becoming the biggest seller at that point was the choice of cars. Not that their choice was bad, but
It was bad for the moment.
yeah, they
Like
were
prototypes, racing cars.
exactly. He was more geared into the European appeal of cars as opposed to the market in the U.S.
And we had SCX on that middle too, right? SCX
Yes,
was sold for Technitroys, and Technitroys was trying to do something there.
Yes.
But the quality was a little bit better. Like the product itself, the slot car itself was a little bit better than Fly and Scalextrics.
Yeah, the SCX made a slightly better chassis initially, but they didn't really have much choice in the way of motors. So the evolution to what we have today is Scalextric, SCX, Carrera. They fall into the same group, same type of classes of cars.
Yeah, one-piece chassis, snap-on plastic wheels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when Slotted comes in, that gets followed by NSR. And
Do it to competition, let's
Right.
say, because they're battling themselves over there. They
Yeah.
want to win.
as they started to realize, hey, there's a market in the U.S. Let's see if we can sell some product into the U.S. And then to follow that, you had Avant.
I went with Spirit first, right? Alberto was involved with Spirit.
Yeah, they were muddling their way through to the point where they went on their own.
We had Team Slot over there in Spain too, doing
Yeah,
some business.
yeah. So Team Slot made some interesting stuff. They made the VW. What do they call those?
Pink car?
Well, not pink car. They made a type of race car that VW makes that I have. It's slipping my mind right now, but they were a beautiful car, and I remember buying a lot of those. But but they were all based on the same type of car as a fly car or a ski electric car.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, once you got into the hobby, you wanted to go to the next step, and people are still doing that. They want to put bigger motors in, and back then magnets were the big thing, so they were learning how to stack magnets, put multiple magnets into a car, and then bigger motors, and then like everything else in that period, they wanted to emulate the Europeans. They saw they were running without magnets at all, which was confusing to everybody here that's been using magnets.
Because the car was offered with magnets.
Yeah, and
I think early 2000s we had a lot of clubs, like magnet clubs. They are proud to say that we race magnet cars.
Well, that's the way the club started out. Back in the early 2000s, everything was magnets in the U.S., and everything was raced with magnets. I remember going to some commercial tracks where they had races, and I would say to them, "Do you have magnet braid on here?" And they said, "Oh no, we don't race with magnets." And the next thing I see is they're putting traction compound on their tires.
Oh.
And you can see the webs of sticky, gooey STP or whatever they were using. And I'm looking at the track, and I see how dirty the track is, and I'm just laughing to myself.
Yeah.
You've just gone from magnets back to 1960, and you're racing with traction compound instead. So, and that's how we get to the next level, which is silicone tires, which we spoke about.
Yeah, you guys were racing silicone tires here, and you told me the benefits that you don't have any residue. You can just wipe it out the track, and you're good to go. Over there, we don't have many because we have a wooden track, and we don't use any kind of product. We just rely on the truing and the rubber that you choose. But we also have a plastic track, which is again, we could have the silicone there, but we race mostly rubber and think the mix kind of is bad for both.
Yeah, so it's like I explained to you, we could have put a wood track in here, but we don't sell wood tracks.
Yeah.
We have one of the guys that's in our group that makes wood tracks and sells them, but that's not what we do. So we sell Carrera track. We sell a lot of Carrera track. So I figured let's put a Carrera track down here. Plus we actually, going back into the 2000, 2001, 2002, we went and spoke with SCX and Carrera, and we told them we could promote their product and increase their sales, which we did. And the way we did it was we went to these Greenberg toy and train shows, as well as a couple others. They would hold them in areas like New York, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. We even went a little further south a couple times. And they would have 2-day shows, and they would bring in 6,000 to 11,000 people in those 2 days at every one of those shows. The weakest show was 6,000 people. And some of the bigger ones in North Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, they were 11,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
We would put 400 people through. We'd have races on both days. We'd put 400 people through on the racetrack every single time we went to one of these events.
Give me 5 that want to have a track at home, right?
Once they started racing on there and they saw how much fun it was, and it was a big track, not a little track. It was 40 feet long, 8 foot wide. It would take us an hour to set it up. We made everything modular. We used gator board, 3/4 of an inch thick, which is very strong. People probably have never seen it or whatever, but it's expensive. It was like $100 a sheet. Yeah, but we did that, and it was set up the same way here with the same style guardrail. And
that doesn't hurt much the car.
No, and we'd be racing on there, and the cars were durable. They'd hold up. The families loved it, and we were only there for 2 days. So once we left, we wouldn't be back at that same venue maybe for a year. So we knew we were driving sales for the local businesses. They may not have realized where it was coming from initially, but we showed the companies, we had shown them with sales. They could see it. It wasn't me just telling them that the sales were going to go up. And so we did that probably for about 10 years, I guess. We traveled. There was 3 of us, myself, Dave Ashcroft, Dave Hoffman.
Those 2 guys over there on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Dash.
Yeah.
Best nickname ever.
Yeah.
Dash. By the way, he was yesterday racing with us with a slotted from the original batch, a Porsche from the original batch.
Yeah.
You see that the white was kind of creamy already. The chassis is the very first design with the gear in between the chassis and the wheel.
Yeah, he beats me every time with that car.
Really? Yeah. For 20 years.
Yeah.
I've been racing the thing for 20
a
years.
lap or 2 laps every single time.
Can somebody please steal that thing from him? Just disappear with that? That's for ransom or something? Yeah, fun guy to be here. Yeah, I had a blast yesterday. It was pretty cool. I came here with the last guy to practice. I tried to learn the track. Carlos was here too.
Yeah, you did really well.
I was booing Carlos all the time to keep the pressure on. But the track is awesome. It's very hard. It's very. It's not hard to learn, but the mid sector here is just like you need to figure out if you want to push it, if you want to overdrive it, or just want to find a speed and go for it. And the first one was a disaster. My car was not that good, but the second one, Robert Bernhard gave me one of his outlaws.
Yeah.
And I did well. Well.
Yeah. There's different curves. You got radius 2 going into 3s and 1s. It's mixed going into curves. So I was telling you earlier how this track got built. I had the whole thing laid out back in I guess it was 2000 or so. And I had to go out for an hour.
To take the dog to school. What the hell?
And when I got back, they had added another 30 feet of track in the middle of the layout.
Don't say anything. Genius, we're geniuses. Look at this.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we left it that way, and this track's been here for 18 years. So you can see it's very durable. It looks. I mean, you're here now, so you can visibly see it. And it looks like
nothing. It looks like you put it together 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So
very, very nice. And I love the fact that you don't have a bridge. I think a bridge on plastic tracks is just like if you don't have the proper wood in between, even if you use the manufacturer's standoffs, they're going to be shaky, they're going to be noisy. I don't think it's the way to go.
Yeah, so when we set it up, one of the criteria that I have, and I try to explain to everybody that's building a track, is you want to have a clear line of sight wherever your car is. If you go under bridges and stuff like that and overheads, and you've got all kinds of signage in the way of blocking people's view of where the car is, they lose sight of it momentarily. And if you're young, it's probably easy to adapt and go from there. But as you get older...
Come on. I heard... Come on, no. I'm not going to excuse you. I heard about your past profession.
Okay.
Don't tell me that you're going to lose sight of something here. You're a sniper, Richie. You're a sniper. If I knew that yesterday, so many jokes would come. So many jokes. Can you tell me about your past life before the hobby business?
Well, I was a police officer for 22 years.
Okay, here in Philly.
Yeah, in Philly.
Right.
I was in the stakeout unit, which is later they turned it into the SWAT unit.
Hold on. It's called stakeout?
Yeah, we called it stakeout.
You guys call everything steak here.
Yeah, everything's a steak.
Stakeout?
Yeah.
Okay.
The unit started in the late 60s, and they were basically set up to take care of bank robberies.
Oh, yeah, it was huge on the 60s, yeah.
So they would get wind of somebody that held up 3-4 banks or something like that, and then they would put us in the banks. And we would wait for
the robber to start.
Yeah. Now, it's sheer luck if he comes into the bank that you're in. But it did happen. My partner shot 2 people in one bank that came in while we were there. We also I used to walk around with a briefcase with a Uzi submachine gun in it. I'd be dressed in plain clothes like this.
I hope you don't use that anymore here.
No.
Good.
Now, today they don't want you walking around with a Uzi submachine gun.
Stress for Slotcar races.
And
So-
then, from there I was in sex crimes for a while. And then I worked plain clothes, undercover for a while. So I worked all over the city in one way or another.
Nice.
Yeah.
You enjoy the time?
You do in the beginning, and then later on it
Become
starts
stressful.
to get old, and it's you're waiting so that you can retire and get out. So when I retired, or while I was working still, towards the end, that's when I started to get involved with the
Hobby business.
slot cars again. Yeah, because there's a period after 1970 where I stop, and then I pick it back up again in 1989.
Yeah. I think everybody has this kind of a pause.
Yeah,
You need to focus on your family and your professional career, and then you come back when you have some more
Yeah.
time.
exactly.
More established professionally, too.
Yeah, you have cars and girls and other things that
Yeah.
take precedence in your life, and wanting to get a house and so on. And eventually you come back to what makes you feel good and makes you, feel happy. So I liked racing. There's good people in this hobby.
Yeah.
And
There's some bad, too.
Yeah, but so we race. We've been racing for almost 20 years on Wednesday nights.
Mhm.
It hasn't changed. Wednesday nights for 20 years. I always question. I said, how did we find that Wednesday night was the night to race? Because everybody else that has clubs are racing on Fridays and Saturdays.
Sometimes even Sundays, yeah.
Yeah. So they said, we just decided the middle of the week we need a break.
That's good. In California, we have a club, which is a store too. It's a hobby store called Big Lou's,
Okay.
and it has been around for almost 20 years too. And it's always on Wednesday nights. He tried to do some races on Saturdays, on other days, Wednesday nights. They always have this secure club people know, and they go there and race. And it's always the same track too, so it's like a one-track club.
Yeah. So we would do the bigger events. So we would hold national championships for each of the manufacturers.
Even SCX, I saw that on the poster.
Yeah. We've done championships for SCX. We did them for Fly numerous times. We've done them for Slotted. We've done them for Carrera. We've done them for Avant.
Do you think all those companies follow you on the part that they need to? Like were they promoting as well on their side?
Well, I don't know if they promoted because what we were doing here, we would promote from here. And that's what I would tell everybody. I said, if you could, make us a special edition car.
Mm-hmm.
We'll promote the event from here. And
That was exchange.
yeah, and that was the exchange. And we pay for all the cars. It's not like we asked for free cars from them.
Yeah.
We tried to make it a win-win situation for everybody. And so we would have a national championship. We'd have people come from all over the country. And we could get anywhere from, I think a small event might have been 20 people, and then in some of the events there was 35.
That's something that we're trying to do at the store
Right.
nowadays. But with all due respect, I still think that I need to push and show the manufacturers how valuable this kind of stuff is. And I think in some way they come to the event. We can make special cars too. But I think in today's era with social media all around and so many products out, like last year we have 800 new slot cars in the market. 800. Not new modes, but new decorations. If you count it, an SR, Slotted, Scalextrics, if you put all together, and even with the smaller companies, 800. That's too much to promote. You need to promote 2 or 3 cars each day.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. That's, I didn't realize it was that many, but
Yeah.
what we did decide to do was we decided to limit what product we brought in here. So whether it's controllers or whether it's cars, I had a discussion with one manufacturer one time. I told him, we wanted to have the best possible. I won't say what it is because he knows who he knows the story and he's not happy about it. But I told him we have to have the best, and he said to me, which product do you make the most money on? I said,
Yeah.
that's not the point.
That's not the point.
I said, if I tell somebody that this is the best item that you can get,
Yeah.
they need to believe me, and I have to be truthful to them to the point where they'll continue to buy from me.
And you need to believe in the product. You need to believe that you're giving the best to the customer.
Yeah. We used to, and it was funny. It was not just the one. I mean, there was other ones the same way. They would come here to race, and they would tell everybody that their product is the best product that you can buy. And the people racing here know.
Experienced racers that have been around for 20 years.
Yeah, they've tried all this stuff, and they know, and they progressed to the products that they're using today. So tires, there's basically only 2 brands of tires we carry. People call us up sometimes and want rubber tires, and we just refer them to somebody else because we don't do rubber tires.
We don't sell rubber tires at all?
No. Well, I shouldn't say we don't. We sell NSR.
Okay, some of the NSR
which will have rubber tires. We sell slotted in some cases, so they'll be rubber tires. But for the most part, 99+% of the tires we sell are silicone.
Which is a very good solution for home racers with the plastic tracks. It's just like there's no truing, there's nothing. Some purists are going to say, yeah, you can true silicone tires. You don't need to. Yeah. It's right there, right? And
the silicone tires, they're developed by a racer, a big-time racer. Puts a ton of effort into the product.
Talk about Steve?
Well, Steve and Mike Stock. Steve Slottel and Mike Stock. So they put a lot of time and effort into making.
And Nicky from Super Tires put a lot of time.
Yeah, and Super Tires is the other brand that we carry.
Yeah, and his daughter is taking care of the business now.
Yeah,
very well actually. New packaging and everything, right?
Yeah. So those are the only 2 brands of tires that we carry, and. When somebody asks me which one, we tell them which one to use. Mm-hmm. Some don't have applications for some of the cars. Some tires perform better on certain types of track. And we sell to people with wood tracks. So we've even had people from places in Europe that have never used silicone before, and now they want to buy silicone tires. So
the result's much easier to achieve.
Yeah.
I don't know if you put against rubber and silicones, if you give to a super expert driver and truer and tuner, if the silicone will be faster at the end of the day. Well, it depends on the car.
Yeah, it depends on the car, depends on the driver, depends on the controller, depends on the surface. I mean, we have one guy that actually makes the wood tracks, and he uses silicone all the time. Now, on occasion, he'll use rubber. But when he uses rubber, he has to use it for like 2-3 months because he has to build up that coating.
Yeah, on the track,
Yeah, so you have rubber on rubber. But the bigger problem that we have with that is then guys start using traction compound. And when they start using traction compound, they're leaving residue on the track at the same time. So this way, I mean, you've seen the track here. We spoke about it. It's 18 years old, and it looks like it was put down 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So
very, very nice. Yeah. Good product. Carrera makes a good product. Has been is the same system for 25 years, maybe 30, and they're very popular in Germany. You only hear Carrera, you don't hear any other brand. That's it.
Yeah, it's in Europe, and you're well aware of it, being there. That anything made in Spain, that's all you'll see in Spain, and so goes SCX and
Fly, Team Slots, Advanced Slots.
Scale Auto. Yeah, the government protected them for so many years by taxing any kind of product that got imported. So you'd pay twice the amount for an HO car that you would for a 132nd car. So they just didn't want the product.
And a little bit of communism that helps everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it was good because it promoted the businesses in that country. And,
Spain is just crazy about slot cars. I think they're in the blood. Let me tell you a story. One day I was there and I went to visit a store called Slot Mania, which is in the center of Barcelona. It's literally a garage on a big street, right? And there's a bus stop right in front. So I found parking. I went there, walked there, got there. The guy didn't know me. Need to present myself. So I just looking around. They have this little polycar track in the back, like half the size of yours, maybe a little longer only. And I'm looking around and asked to try the track. I pay for the rent. He gave me a loaner. I tried the track. It's fine. So I'm looking around, and then this guy comes with a backpack just storms out inside of the store, right? So he needs, I need this specific slotted gear, the 23 down, whatever it was, the 90 pinion, and the rubber tires for that. And the guy puts together, put a little bag, just like a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And it has this little cashier that opens the drawer. So he pays cash. The guy puts things in the backpack and leaves.
Nice.
The bus comes out. He jumps on the bus and leaves. And I say, who is that? The guy said, I don't know. So can you imagine somebody walks in, asks for very specific parts and leaves, and you don't even know who the guy is and where he goes and where. So Spain has this. At some point when SCX was called Scalextrics there because they still were sharing the name, they used to sell cars out of magazines. You can buy like a Slotcar magazine, you get a car.
Right.
So it's on their blood. Everybody knows about it. So it's just like it's easier to it's the favorite hobby. It's the favorite. It's crazy. I think every time that I go there, I just get astonished. I went to the Slot Foro, the Foro Slot Madrid. It's twice the size of the UK festival. They made it in a circuit. They have like 4 buildings, 3 floors each.
Yeah. And that's huge. Why I think that they keep producing the product at the level that they do. So
because that's it.
Because that's it. That's what they're used to. That's what they want to race with.
But don't forget that Scale Auto is coming strong. Scale Auto is making like a nice product.
Yeah.
On the past 4 years, they put themselves on the level of NSR, it's slotted, and they're growing. I think they're the only one, and now Avant Slot's going for the same move. Right. Alberto is very technical. It's a very good designer, and he's trying to push the competition into his brand too. So I think those are the 2 brands that are going to come very strongly.
Yeah, he's very, very into it. You've been to his shop. You've seen the multi-levels and all the tracks that are
This is the Ivan on Igualada.
Yeah.
And the big dome in front.
Yeah.
So you know the story about the dome? They have this big gymnasium right in front, like the dome where they put the tracks and they have the 24-hour races. There used to be a dancing club in the 90s.
Okay.
Called Scorpia.
Right.
So when the dance music in the 90s exploded, that was the place to go. And Ivan and Bernard, they used to go there as a teenagers. So now they rent the place. But the thing is, the place is still there. If you go to the restrooms, there's still the decorations from the 90s. You can see some logos. So it's kind of weird. That thing. How do you feel about the future of slot cars? Are you optimistic?
Yeah. So back in the early 2000s, some people don't realize this or they're aware of it. There was only maybe 6 big companies, and then there was a couple small companies. You had Scale Electric, SCX, Ninco, Slotted, Carrera, and Avant, I guess, at that point. And there was Team Slot. As well. And so Scale Electric came out with their GT40 as well as their Trans Am cars around 2002. When they came out with that GT40, they made 100,000 of each of those GT40s, the first 3, the red, the black, and the gold. And when I tell that to people, they're just blown away because they can't believe that they made that many cars. Because today, as you're well aware,
if you push 1,000, it's too much.
Yeah, I mean, Carrera makes probably a minimum 1,500, but that's worldwide distribution, and they have a very strong market, very strong following in Germany.
60% stays there, maybe more.
Yeah, and so that's a normal run for somebody. A lot of these other companies, 500 is a big run. And they're always wondering, am I going to sell all 500, or am I going to get stuck with any of this, or what's the story?
And the European problem is that the distribution here, they have allocation. Sometimes they allocated the wrong number, and then they're burning. They're selling, they're making sales online and trying to push to us cars cheaper, and you can move.
Yeah. So what happens is, as time progressed from that early period, sales were moving. Well, the reason why you had so many sales of that car, there weren't that many manufacturers, and everybody was crashing and breaking those cars, so they needed another one.
And you don't have parts, and you don't even have reliable parts.
Yeah. So they used the cars up, And as time goes on, more manufacturers are making product than were making product back then. NSR comes on the scene. Now you have Scale Auto. Slotted got even bigger.
Yeah.
Avant got bigger. So now all of a sudden there's more product available. So it diluted the market.
So you cannot do 100,000 anymore.
No, and also in the beginning, and this is an important point, the collector mentality was very strong. I
assume some comes out, you need to have it, right?
Well, there was people that would buy one GT40 and then they'd buy a second one. And then it became the norm that whenever something came out, you're buying at least two.
To keep one and race the other.
Yeah, and then it became, I think this one's going to go up in value. They start whispering to each other. And before you know it, they're buying 6 and 12 of a car. So they were buying quantity of these cars, thinking that at some point, just like baseball cards, they're going to go up in value and they'll be able to make money and fund their hobby continuously. So the cars don't really go up in value that much. They went up initially a little bit, and so they saw that, and that just spurred more people to buy the cars and increase their sales. So as we go forward, though, all of a sudden some reality starts to set in. So even though there's only a small handful of people initially, this is very boutique, and so each year at Christmas time, their sales would move up exponentially. And this was going on for year after year after year. And then we reached a point, I guess, in the mid-2000 teens, in the 2015 area or whatever, and things started to slow down a little bit. That's because the manufacturers, how many were making stuff, how much product was available, and so on. And then you hit the pandemic.
Yeah.
When you hit the pandemic, everything gets reset.
Yep.
All of a sudden, people can't go out anywhere. They can't do anything. And now your sales are moving up like it's 2000 again. All the things that you're buying and selling are moving up exponentially again.
There's a study saying that the hobby market grow between 10 and 15% during the pandemic. I think the Slotcar market grew more than that.
Yeah, our sales were up quite a bit. Now, I guess you have to figure out also, there's some people here that help me. It's not just me that runs this operation.
I know.
You have Holly, who works here. She's great with customers, and she knows everything that I know.
You see, Carlos? You hearing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
She can. If I went away for 3 months, you wouldn't know that I wasn't here.
Where were you going for 3 months?
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
If I wanted to go on
I
vacation,
see the blue car over there. We're planning to go with the blue car for 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like to go out on the weekends.
Okay. Good.
But she could run everything. She knows all the people to purchase product from. She knows how much to have in inventory. She knows...
and she worked for Carrera before that, right?
Yeah, so she worked for Carrera for a while.
Which is not that far from here.
Yeah. And so that's where she initially learned the product, the Slotcar product. But then she's very smart.
Where's Holly?
Yeah, she's got another product that she's working on today. But at any rate, yeah, it's a shame because she would. It would have been nice to
meet her.
see her. Yeah.
I met her at the festival.
Yeah, so you saw her at the festival.
Yeah.
She's very friendly, but she's surprising. In all the time that I've been doing stuff like this, I've only seen 2 other people that could do everything that she does. She's.
Are you gonna name those people?
Well,
No.
well, I can. No, it was another girl named Donna, and there was another guy named Scott. Scott opened up his own business.
Okay.
He's very successful.
Not to do with slot cars.
No, he's actually in the tool. He sells all the tools, and he sells the buildings like what do they call that? Studio 54 or something. But,
I heard about that. Yeah. So
yeah.
Studio 54 makes like replacement parts for models.
Yeah.
Like if you need the chrome and
Yeah, but they also make these displays and
okay.
buildings, all kinds of stuff. So they make stuff just for him.
Nice.
So he learned
the trade.
Yeah.
The trade with you. Anyway,
Yeah. So that's all I can show people initially is how to deal with manufacturers, what product you should make, what's going to be popular, what's not going to be popular. Do you need to promote it? This is how you would promote it. When we did those promotions, going to those shows for the for SCX and Carrera, we specifically had a plan, and we knew what we wanted to do, and we knew that the only way that we could show the manufacturer that it worked was in sales. And they saw the sales grow considerably through those events. Plus, they got a lot of notoriety in local newspapers and on the news and stuff like that wherever we went.
But besides Holly, you have Tyler working here, right?
Yeah, so we have some other people.
And your son Daniel that I never met.
Yeah, Daniel's here.
Is he here today?
No, he'll be in later.
Okay.
He comes in late at night, and he's getting everything prepared for the next day usually.
Okay, good.
So yeah, he can run everything to a degree. He's very technical. So
you haven't answered my question. Are you optimistic about the future of the hobby?
Okay, yeah. So this hobby.
Do you think we can grow new audience?
Yeah. So the only difference. I mean, I know myself, and I know you can keep progressing and moving on. The question is, can other people do that? It's one thing if somebody dies and leaves you $300,000 and you decide you want to open up a hobby store, but you don't know where to even start.
Yeah.
You know, where's point A, where's point B, and so you make mistakes, and there's nobody there to help you out because.
And then the 300 is gone.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden, in a year, 2 years, the money's gone. I mean, to try to open up a hobby store and have just a track, and think that you can rent time out on that track, and that's going to make it for you. That's what a slot car store is, or whatever.
The old style raceway.
Yeah, that's just not what's going to work today.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, the value of real estate.
And then we come back to ownership changing every 6 months, and people not keeping up the rent, and then we have the drama, and then we don't have products for the racers.
Yeah, so
and then the racers are coming buying stuff online. They don't buy in your store, and then become a fight, and then you don't have money to pay the rent.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens over time? Same thing. You need to adapt. So back in 2000, there was no real internet sales. They were far and few between. People needed to see the product. And you had to be the ambassador for these companies to show these people the product. You needed to create events. We never charged for track time.
Yeah.
That's always been free here. So other people can't understand that. So you got a business. How can you not charge for track time? You got to have a monthly rental, or you got to have a club fee. They got to pay you or whatever. And so that's fine. Some people can make the rent off of it.
But for you, having a club races, that's kind of part of promoting the hobby. You need this. You need to have races. You need to see how the cars react. You need to hear the experience of the other drivers.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, I need this silicone tire, not that one. You don't have time to do this. You don't have time to come here and test every single car.
No.
So it's kind of an exchange. You have the free track, but you need to hear those guys.
Yeah. So
yesterday we met Mitchell here with a bunch of new products. The guy is brilliant.
Yeah.
Those things are amazing. The things that is coming out.
Yeah.
So
he's got a really inventive mind.
Yeah, it's kind of I think it's a kind of an exchange. We do the same there. We do have to charge a fee, because if not, we're gonna have people hanging around the whole year over there.
Yeah.
Already there's people who stays there more than I do. So, right? Absolutely right. So we kind of need the fee, but it's nothing compared to what they can offer to us. And I think when we put the big races up and we have the pictures, the videos, I think this kind of helps promote the hobby, and people see those things online. Say, okay, this is popular again. It might be interesting to me. It's attractive.
Yeah. So you're creating an experience, which is what I said. That's what you need to do. We go all the way back to when we're doing the shows and promoting it. Then we hold the national championships, and we give out $3,000 in prizes at the championship, so everybody feels good about going there. When we give out prizes, we want people to get it out of their head that they have to win.
Yeah.
The fact that you participated
is more important.
is more important, because now you got to test yourself against everybody else.
The whole experience.
Right. And so and then next time you can build a better car.
You can improve yourself, more laps.
Yeah, so, and they understand there's rules and structure, and so now it's a goal to get to. And they bring their friends, they get family members involved, and so you have more and more people. And that's what we tell people. I said, look, wherever you are, you may not realize it, there's probably 2 more people within 5 blocks of where you live that are racing slot cars, and you just don't know who they are. We have mail order. We get the order sometimes. We see the addresses.
It's very close. These guys close to each other. They don't know each other.
They don't even know each other.
Just put a note. Please call Steve. He knows about you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just amazing how many people just don't realize, and that's because it's so boutique. And it's
still niche.
It's very niche, and it's so it's limited in who's got it. So nobody really knows how many people are really out there. And the manufacturers, they don't really know what the people want sometimes.
No, there's a big gap between the manufacturers. A huge gap between the manufacturers. That's why they need people like us.
Yeah, back in I forget when it was, 2012, 2014, when SCX came to me when I was in Nuremberg. And the person that they had who was in charge of sales for the U.S. market or international market at that point.
That was 3 years ago?
No, this is like 12 years ago.
Okay.
So he said to me, what's it like there? And he was asking me all different kinds of questions about the market and so on. And I talked to him, and I told him my opinion. I think initially he just looked at me like, all right, he's telling me things, but I can't go out and confirm any of the things that he's saying.
Yeah, so
I gave him a list.
Listening but not trusting.
Yeah, so I gave him a list of 20 cars that he could make that would sell out for every single car that he made. So I come back there next year, and he says, you're not going to believe what we have for you. I said, what's that? He says, we made a car just for the U.S. market. I said, what did you make? He says, we made a NASCAR. I said, well...
Is that the DON hard car?
And he's all proud, and he's showing me stuff that nobody else has seen. They have a curtain drawn over it, et cetera, and so on. He says, what do you think? And he sees my face. I'm not like wow or anything like that. I'm not poo-pooing what he's done. And he says, what do you think? I said, there's other cars you could make that I think would do better.
The list that I gave a year ago.
Yeah, so he goes, well, we'll see. I think you'll do well with this product here. So another year goes by. They put the NASCAR stuff out. And the NASCAR they hire a company, and that's why they do this. They hire somebody to tell them what it is to make. And that company just goes and looks at racing in the United States.
Data.
Yeah, and the
General
first thing
data
that pops up is NASCAR. But it doesn't equate to sales of slot cars, because that's not what they want necessarily. So I said, the people that go to these NASCAR events, they're there for the week. They're buying all kinds of stuff. They're partying the whole week.
Merchandising, caps and stuff, but nobody's going to...
Yeah, and they're more in love with the driver than the car. So I said, that's not really what they want. So he says, well, what would they want? So I said, well, I gave you the list. I said, but number one on that list is the Dodge Challenger. He said, if we made the Dodge Challenger, how many would you buy? So I said to him, and honestly, I said, well, it depends how you distribute it, of course.
Yeah, who are selling to?
Yeah, who are you selling the car to? Who's going to get the car? Et cetera, and so on. He says, well, if we made this car and we made it, say, just for you, how many would you take? I said, well, if you're making a car just for me, I'll take 500 without any problem.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what it's going to look like. If you can show me a prototype.
And if I can distribute too, if I can sell to other resellers,
yeah. So he goes, all right. So in that next year, somehow it gets twisted, and they go and they make a CUDA. He shows me, this is what we made for you. And he's showing me a CUDA. So the reason that they switched from the Challenger to the CUDA was because they had more liveries for a CUDA than they would for the Challenger. So I said, okay. I said, the CUDA will work too. It's on my list. I just was telling you Challenger because nobody's ever done that car.
Yeah.
And I think, people are dying to get that car. And the Challenger at that time in the U.S., the name Dodge Challenger
was coming back.
Yeah, it was coming back and was hot. The Hemi and all that. So
Cheap Foods and all those guys doing Cougars again. Yeah.
So he made the 48 and the 42. The most he told me of any car that they had sold in the U.S. was 1,500.
It's a good number.
Yeah. He told me that they made and sold completely out 3,600 of the 48 car, 3,600 of the 42 car, and that doesn't even count the digital versions that they made.
In the U.S. was just half of it.
Yeah, he said that was the best-selling car that they've ever made in their history. Wow. So then he says, we want to take care of you. And
he says, you son of a bitch, check my list. Do you still have the list? I can mail back to you.
Yeah.
NASCAR.
So he said, we want to take care of you. So I said, well, how about making the car in lime green? He said, that's a street livery. I said, yeah, I know. He said, nobody buys street liveries.
There you go.
He says, you're making a big mistake. I said, I don't think so. I said, I'll take 500 in lime green. Will you make them for me?
It's the most popular color for that car.
Yeah. Well, in retrospect, everybody can see now that that's obvious.
And the orange, too.
Yeah. So I said, I know that's what I want you to make. He says, all right, we'll make it. He says, you'll take all 500? I said, yeah, I'll take all 500. Those cars sold out in, I don't even think I had them 3 weeks. And boom.
Yeah, that's something that we were talking about. Like, they missed, and I believe that's a different guy that we deal with after you did it again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The same company, but different person. But the problem is, I think they should have taken much more advantage of the momentum that you and Dave Kennedy created with those CUDAs.
Yeah.
Because if SCX could put another car right there and start to promote, they will have a bigger brand right now here.
Yeah.
Because you guys did a great buzz with those cars, and you released new livers, and you have the special edition one. So, and to be honest, the car is not like the greatest slot car ever. It's just like a beautiful car that you can race, and it's very functional with lights and everything. But I don't think they took the advantage that they're supposed to be with that momentum. They couldn't breathe what you guys were creating for them.
Yeah. So I was told, and I don't know if it's true or not, that the NASCAR production had taken a toll on them, and they subsequently sold the company.
Yeah, taking the choice. Yeah.
So there's turmoil for 5 years or something like that.
Yeah. Then the family regained possession of the brand, and they restarted with investors and everything.
And I spoke to Dave Kennedy. Dave Kennedy was doing stuff with them again at this point. And I said, Dave, I'll take, I forget how many it was, but I think I told him 1,800 CUDAs, if you can make them for me, or get them to make them for me.
Different colors.
In different colors. So from that, we now move to, I think the total, I had 15 or 18 cars done, 500 each. So that's, some are they only made 100 or so, but the total amount that we took is probably about 3, 6, 9, 45, it's probably about 6,000 to 7,000 more cars, which is huge.
Great for them, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I was hoping that he would have continued to talk to them, and they would go back to now making, per se, the Challenger or a couple other cars that...
But again, Spain is a difficult market. They sell a lot of rally stuff.
Right,
so I think they prefer to put the money on modes for rally, and even modern rally, like the Hyundais and the Audis and...
Yeah, so you're right. What they're doing is they're building cars that they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
They won't lose.
But there's a problem there. Because a Challenger and a CUDA is a classic car that they can reprint any time in the year. Any time in the decade.
Right.
Right now, if you do a modern Hyundai that run some rally over there, You cannot remake the Hyundai in 10 years. It's like a modern look that nobody cares. Never going to be a classic car. So that's a bad investment in my point of view.
Yeah. So
anyway, it's so many slot cars. I got Jesus sometimes.
Yeah.
Jesus
So
Christ.
the only way to get people to make what you want now is to basically pick and choose who you're purchasing cars from and what they're making.
Yeah.
And is it targeted at your market?
Yeah.
So for me at this point to buy some of the cars that some of the manufacturers are making just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's too many. Too
No.
many cars. Too many.
Well, that and it's not geared for the U.S. market. Or in some cases, the quality is not up to some of the cars that
we already have.
we already have, and they expect that.
Established brands that is already there.
Yeah.
But you haven't answered my question. Are you optimistic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
So, well, for somebody that's doing what we're doing, there's growth continually, or it should be. So we've had, even this year, I keep looking because we're out of the pandemic now for 2 years. And I'm saying to myself are the sales going to continue, or are we going to go back to 2019 or 2018 or whatever? And so far, we're above last year again.
It's great.
So I'm assuming that other people are doing the same thing. If you're in tune with what the people want, you're providing good service, and you're demonstrating product, or you're promoting it in some way.
Promote some way, yeah.
Yeah. And now they've reached a point where they're advertising. Well, it's not that they're advertising. They're selling more stuff on Amazon.
Yeah. Some brands are going to that direction. I don't think it's fair for the resellers, but I think some people are also out of desperation. Bad U.S. allocations, they don't know what to do with, and they have more profit selling there.
Yeah. So I equate that to back in the late 2000s when the companies were putting stuff into Target, Walmart, and those kind of locations. And I remember saying to the company, I said, we can't buy what you're putting into Walmart or what you're putting into Target, because you're giving them special deals. You're taking returns on unsold merchandise. It's just not worthwhile for me to buy it at this point.
And then suddenly they have a Black Friday or 50% off over there.
Yeah, exactly. So I said...
Suddenly they're selling for less than cost.
Yeah, so I said initially what I'm telling you, which would be, it sounds like it's not a good idea for them to do what they're doing. And I remember one of the people working there told me, he said, it's meant to really help you create more sales. We're doing advertising, which you may not realize at this point. But that's what we're doing. We're doing advertising for you. We're getting you new customers that after the stores have sold out or they've returned everything, which is December 26th.
Or they get the bug of slot cars. They're going to search for the specialized
They're going to need more cars. They're going to need new braid.
Makes sense.
Yes. And so they're going to start buying this product from you for the next 10 months. You've got carte blanche to all these new customers that they created. Because a lot of people, as you're well aware...
But do you agree with this strategy?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree too. I think they should have slot cars everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that did was that enabled... it took a while for me to figure it out, but I saw the sales that I was getting afterward. And that's when I realized, okay, this is the advertising. Because they can't get on the news. They can't get on Channel 6. I mean, it's not... TV's not even set up that way anymore.
Yeah. Even if they get, nobody's watching. So
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. So and the magazines, there's no real magazines anymore.
No.
So there's nothing there for them to see. So it's limited to either getting people that are dedicated to doing shows, which was a lot of effort on our part. At this point in time, I don't think it's feasible for us to do something like that again. We're all 20 years older, 25 years older, so. It's a lot of wear and tear driving out to these locations, setting it up. But what they were doing, I equate to what's going on now. So with Amazon, the manufacturers are selling product on Amazon, and
Huge Amazon stores, a lot of investment.
Yeah,
That's not something that you ask for your nephew to do it.
right. It's just crazy how much. But I equate it to the same thing that was happening back then, because on December 26th, Amazon's done with slot cars, just like the big box stores were done with all that stuff back in the 60s and 70s. Once you're past Christmas, there's a new line of product that we sell now.
Halloween, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
it's it's
Seasonal.
Yeah, it's seasonal, exactly. So they're into the next product. So they're pretty much done with buying stuff on there. So all these people that bought stuff now want to expand. So they want to get the wireless controllers, or they want to.
I understand everything you're saying and agree. I think they should have slot cars everywhere, but Amazon is a little bit dangerous because.
Well, yeah, I don't look. I don't like Amazon. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not appreciative of what goes on there, especially with the fact that they let people rip open boxes
and return 30 days later.
Yeah, return stuff, missing parts, and et cetera, and so on. So their return policy can be a killer.
Yeah.
And so we're
to everyone involved, even to the guy who's selling the product.
Yeah, so we're specific about what we sell on there, and we're not looking for people that are just going to rip stuff open and send it back, or I mean, we've even gotten stuff back that we didn't even sell people.
Oh yeah, well, believe me. Last week we had a guy who started at the counter. My front desk called me, and the guy was talking. As soon as I get the guy started to say, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Better Business Bureau." I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, Richard, thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me over. I feel from far away, and even knowing you, I was a little afraid to intrude, because at the end of the day, we're kind of competing for the same guy, and there's not many people out there doing what we sell. Yeah. But I'm glad that you got me here, and I had a lot of fun racing yesterday. You had a great bunch, and again, thank you very much for having me. Doors are wide open for you if you want to come and race. I know that you're very competitive. So if you wanted to come to California to race one of our big events, we're going to have a car ready for you.
All right.
And thank you very much. It's a beautiful structure that you have here. I think what you guys do together with the other stores that we work together is just amazing. And I hope you can bring back. Hope you can bring back to the 2010 terms, and maybe the 60s and 70s. Maybe you can call what we're living now with so many cars and so many manufacturers. Maybe this is the golden era. And it's not the 60s anymore.
Yeah, I think we'll do well going forward. And as I said before, I'm not looking to be the one place where everybody has to buy everything. I'm not looking to be the number one slot car person. I'm not looking to be known as the slot car guy or anything like that. I just we do enough business. We have enough customers, and we just try to make sure that everybody we deal with is satisfied and has a good experience. And that's all we do. At this point in time, I'm not looking to, like I said, be the only place where you can get slot cars.
Very nice. Are you getting a ride back on that blue thing or no?
Yeah, you want to ride?
No, just
we can go for a ride if you want.
Richie, thank you very much, sir.
All right.